So the bad weather has started. It was going when I got up this morning at 4:30, so it has progressively gotten worse. We've actually had thunder, so all the Facebook groups, thunder snow. It is now finally snowing. Up until this point, this was freezing rain or sleet. I guess it's sleet. Yeah, it was sleet. Also, after this video, if you click the up next back to the end of this video, it'll take you to a brand new, never seen before video on my other channel. It's pretty treacherous. You can see here on the porch, it's nothing but ice, maybe. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's just straight ice. Unfortunately, I got to get down to the shed to look at my batteries to see how they're doing. We're not going to get a charge today. I did run the generator this morning, and it was a good long walk, so I figured you and I can go down and take a walk and check on the batteries. This is just something you got to do. Now the panels, which I'll show you here in a minute, are covered in snow and ice. I'm not going to worry about it today. It's so cloudy, we're not going to get the charge controllers on the solar panels don't even turn on until you get up to, like, I want to say 16 or 17 volts. I mean, the panels are making electricity right now, but it's not enough to turn the charge controller on. So it's useless to even worry about the solar panel. So like I said, well, I lost track of what I was talking about. But anyway, I did run the generator, and I'm going to go down here to see if we need to run it anymore. But it's impossible to walk on. So I'm going to walk on the grass as much as possible. Of course, this is just a huge steep hill. I've been thinking about maybe grabbing the Beast. I don't know, maybe the John Deere would be better. The Beast has those tractor tires, but the John Deere has chains. It might be better to run up and down this hill with the John Deere instead of trying to walk it. The difference is Carolyn doesn't like driving the John Deere. One, because it's more expensive, and two, because it has the foot pedal controls, whereas the Beast is just with a stick shift, and she likes that better. So if the Beast can make it up the hill, I'd bring it up here just for her to be able to ride around in. But she doesn't even want to get off the porch, so she actually moved her cooking. Back when we first moved into the tiny house before we had the camper, we used to cook everything on the porch, or she did. And since we got the camper, she's been doing all the cooking in the camper. It's got an oven and 4-burner stove. Well, she didn't want to get off the porch today, so she cooked breakfast on the porch. Again, we leave that stove open on the porch so I can make coffee. There's no reason, because that coffee makes a mess. It percolates and spills over. So it's better to cook it on the porch on that old Coleman camp stove than it is in the camper. Plus, you're in and out. I'd hate to have to walk up and down the hill to make coffee. So we just keep that one on the porch. And for days like this, it works out pretty good. Man, it is just slick. Then I got to get into the shed, and that's a mess. So here's the panels. They're not totally covered yet, but they're getting there. They're still making electricity. We'll go down here and see if there's making enough to turn the chargers on, the charge controllers on. I've got the door shut on the shed because you can see that it's coming in. I didn't want it to get on my charge controller and all that sensitive electronics. Okay, so here's the charge controller. I think the yellow light should be flashing. If the charge controllers were on, the yellow light would be flashing. And neither charge controller, they're flashing. So we're not making enough electricity from the solar panels to even worry about. Let's see, we got 12.2. Yeah, I need to turn on the generator. 12.2 volts. You don't really want to get much lower than 12.3. So I'll turn that generator back on. Something I'd like to try to explain about this charge controller. So this charge controller produces more volts than what the inverter allows for. So when the batteries get charged, they get up to, let's say, 14 point, the charge controller, or the charger I should say, the charger gets up to 14.4 volts. It's charging the batteries. But the inverter can only allow for 14.3 volts. So when the batteries get charged from the charger, the inverter shuts off briefly. It comes right back on. It shuts off because there's too many volts for it. So it's a good indication in the house. When you see that flash, the laptop shuts off real briefly and switches over to battery. It's a good indication that I know now that the battery is charged, so I can come down and shut off the generator. Now in the solar panels, it's completely adjustable. I can adjust the voltage right here to wherever I want it to be. Let's see, 14.3, I got it right there. So I could adjust that up or down. But the charge controller isn't the charger, excuse me, isn't controllable. But like I said, it's a good indication that the batteries are charged when everything starts flashing because the inverter shut off. The inverter is what sends electric, AC electric, to the house. I thought about buying a charger that produces less voltage, but I thought, why do that? Then I wouldn't know if the batteries were charged. So I'm just down here running the generator, wasting gas even though the battery is charged. Now I do have a mic sock on it, on the camera. I don't know how well it's working. We'll see when I edit the video, I guess. Whoa! I spilled it. This ice is making everything more complicated. Let's see if I can do it without spilling. Now the instructions say to unplug it before you start it. So I have my cord, I don't know if you can see that. I have my cord in right here. I just leave it in because that charger takes a second to turn on. So it's not like I'm giving it any electric before the generator is ready to provide it. So that's something you may want to consider though. Make sure it's unplugged before you start it. I thought I would mention it. Secondly, I don't fill it up with gas. That way if I forget about it, the generator will shut off from running out of gas. And it doesn't hurt these inverter generators. They say it will hurt a regular generator. I don't know how true that is if you let it run out of gas. And the reason I don't think it's that true is because they tell you to run it out of gas before you put it away in the instructions. Okay, so now we're going to go back in there and turn the charger back on. It'll turn on by itself, but it turns on to, I think, 2 amps or auto, I forget, but it's never enough. There we go, we're at 25 amps now. So these should be charging already. Let's see where we're at, 12.5. So it's already kicked up, it's right there, 12.5. It switches, 12.5. 0 amps. it flashes back and forth. There's 12.6. So we're not getting any amps through the charge controller. So the charge is coming strictly from the battery charger itself. I don't know how entertaining this video is, me walking around like I'm an old man because of the ice, but I am an old man walking around on the ice. Alright, so I guess we'll get back up the hill. I might ask Carolyn if she needs me to bring out the lawnmower so she can run up and down the hill. If the beast can come up this hill. I don't know if it can. If she doesn't want to bring it up, I'll bring the John Deere up for myself. She hasn't been coming down here today, so she may just want to stay in the house. I did want to address something. I got a comment that said, I get this all the time, how I abuse Carolyn. The other day I showed that she'd split a bunch of wood. So the process is I take these rounds here and I split them up into smaller sizes so they can dry. You know, so this will wait a year or so. And then she sits around with a hatchet after all this is dry and splits it up into pieces that we can use in the stove, which is real small. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here without killing myself. Now, I have hurt my elbow doing this, but she seems to really enjoy splitting this up into smaller pieces. Everything's frozen, but you can see it's pretty small, so we can use it in a stove. So she just sits over there and hacks away at it. So I got a comment saying that I abuse her because I let her do that, implying that I should be doing it. Yeah, I used to get this with the laundry when she used to do laundry with the bucket and the plunger. I get it with her having to cook. It's almost like if she does anything, then it's abusive. Before she met me, she had worked every day of her life. Since she met me, she only worked for, I think in a relationship together she worked for a year or two, not very long. And then she quit and we traveled, and I made, money on YouTube, and we had a savings account. And so while we were traveling, the only thing she really did was cook and laundry. And she felt like she was getting unhealthy. But then we moved here, there were things to do, things she could do to keep her active and healthy. And she's quite healthy. I remember when I met her, her back was in terrible shape, and she was in constant pain, but I don't see that much anymore. I mean, occasionally she'll, my back, but not too much anymore. See, the thing is people in this country are lazy. It's so obvious they're lazy. They're unhealthy and they want to go to the doctor to get a quick fix instead of just... A while back, a couple of years ago, Carolyn had to go to the hospital, and it turned out her gallbladder was filled with gallstones. Of course, the doctor wanted to do surgery. Carolyn didn't. I said this on the video, and everybody said that she needs to get those removed, get her gallbladder removed. Well, you get the gallbladder removed, it doesn't come without risk, and there's complications. And so she said, no, I don't want to get the surgery. So she went on this natural thing, and we did a bunch of research how to get rid of gallstones. I had gallstones for a while, and I got rid of mine. Not to the extent that she had them, but I had them every now and then. So she's pain-free now. The gallstones are gone, it's obvious. She can eat whatever she wants without any problems with her stomach. Not everything needs to have drugs and surgery and doctors. If you're willing to go for, do what it takes to fix yourself, you can do it. So Carolyn comes out here and splits wood. She sits in a chair and she splits a little bit of wood with a hatchet and a 5-pound mallet. And she seems to really enjoy it. So I don't see why she can't do it, since it does hurt my arm. I mean, I would do it, but why do it when she's got this? I mean, it's almost like a rule now that I got to use certain piles of firewood, and you know, don't use that, use this, and I'm not allowed to use this because that's dry, and I don't want to mess with her process unless she tells me that she doesn't want to do it anymore, or she just stops doing it, which is fine. If she just stopped doing it and we were out of firewood, I would go out and split some. There's nothing I'm making her do, or I don't know. People just really have this opinion of the way things should be. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video where I was working on a brand new, never seen before video on my other channel. Also, you can check it out down here at the link below. So I hope I can inspire you to do what it takes to keep yourself healthy so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.